All the garage doors are shut, Cam, because of what you do to clutches in TCRs, mate. Nothing quite like the ones that come out of your RX-7 as well. Ha-ha, I got that one across the line on live stream as well. Right alongside me is not Cameron Vanderduncan, it is Aaron Noonan. We've called these races at Queensland Raceway. You must have done such a good job, young fella, that they've invited you back.
I'm happy to be back. I love the prototype series. The racing at Queensland, last time I sat down and did some chatting about this with you, was fantastic. Final round, titles on the line, 15 cars rolling out for the first of two races. Qualifying earlier this morning. There's Yasser Shaheen in the number 7 car. Funnily enough, it's black and yellow and it's got the Ben Motorsport Park on the side. And he's going to start from position 10 with this one going to be over 13 laps. But it's a pretty tight title fight. This is nowhere near done yet.
It's actually quite interesting, the different nuances that weather can throw at these cars. And I don't mean whether or not they go racing. I mean whether the clouds dump rain on the track.
WEA.
Yeah, the car of Yasser Shaheen and Radicals there as well. Great in the wet. It doesn't look like it's going to rain, as we've got something more from the lane.
Darren Smith, I've found the man, the myth, the legend that is Paul Trengove. Mate, you should be back out there on track at the moment. What is going on?
Yeah, no, I'm here working this weekend, obviously, with the band hosting the Shannons Nationals. So, yeah, unfortunately I'm not out there, but how cool are the prototypes? It's hopefully an exciting race.
Can we just get your media training going on here at the moment, mate? The prototypes have had some wonderful racing this year as well. You've been part of it. Have you got a tip for us in this race?
Look, this is a real fast flowing track, very horsepower oriented, so I think the Wolves will be at the front. I'm thinking Gonzalez will probably win this one.
Thank you, mate. We'll go back to the boys.
Thank you very much. Good to see Trengove. He returned after many years away. He drove in the Formula Holdens, or F4000s as they were back in the day, and he calls this place a full-time job here and has stepped out to help run the race meeting. But I think he's right. I think it's going to be a Wolf, but I might go against him because I think Mark Lauki's had enough bad luck this year that he deserves a win. He's on pole, so I'm going with undoubtedly the unbackable favourite there. And Daniel Gonzalez, who has been massive this year, unheard of at the start of this year. Realty One's very own Daniel Gonzalez sitting in position at number 2. John Paul Drake, who we saw driving the Tornado, he's gone back into his Wolf, which is the GBO8CN non-turbo, or normally aspirated, whichever way you would like to look at it. David Barham in the Chiron, the only Chiron in the field, and David Barham is in P4. He has got a title to try and win, and he is there in 4th. Glenn Starbaum, the great Northern Decorators Wolf GBO8 SM, Andreas Lascaris, the Greek driver, first time here in Australia racing here at the Bend, loving it. Phil Hughes for Hughes Supercar Services. He drove both the Tornado and the GBO8 at Friday practice, and he's jumped back into his Radical SR3. And he's sitting back down there in the field. Phil Hughes in 11th. 12th will be Sig Furmeister, and Sue Hughes in 14th. Smith, and then back to Grant in a couple of the Radicals. As I was touching on, the Wolves a lot better in the dry conditions. The Radicals with their quaif type of differential, and by that I mean torsion type differential or limited slip diff for those playing at home, do a very, very strong job in the wet. But have a look at those two Tornadoes right next to each other. Mark Lauki, the veteran, he's found his way to the very, very front of the field of Australian motorsport. And he's not a young man, but boy, oh boy, does he bring the biggest amount of enthusiasm to the racetrack when he goes racing. The Lauki Flour Mills cars, black and very bright yellow. You almost need your sunglasses on just to look at it. Daniel Gonzalez, he has got this championship to fight for. And the orange Chiron, the number 46, watch out for that car. It is a jet in a straight line. The normally aspirated Wolf of John Paul Drake. And have a look at the NA cars. They get off the line beautifully. And they split the field right round the outside goes Barham. And he is going to lead the field at least up the rise. But Lauki fights back, finds the boost button. Have a look at Gonzalez. Almost takes the nose off John Paul Drake going across there. Runs wide. And then it will be Lascarosta. I'll have to get that Greek name right before the end of this race. Bonaventura in there as well. The first of the Radicals had a horrible run at the last round. Broken engine and disappeared at Winton, but unfortunately couldn't take any further part. But Bonaventura now into 6th place.
And Lauki, the pole man, Darren's got through on that sweeping run through this left-hand sequence that brings them back. There's Yasser Shahin in the number 7 car, the Radical, sits just outside the top 10. First lap of 13, and there's Lauke. He's taken the lead from Barham. Once he got wound up and going, he was able to retake the lead, but Barham's jump from the second row of the grid was fantastic. He was steering left before the car went straight because he knew that he had to leap around immediately, such was the jump that he'd made. They're off and running, the first of 2 races in this final round of the Australian Prototype Series, a bit further back in the pack, and those Radicals that do make up the field. Back to the front, Gonzalez sitting here in 3rd spot, John Paul Drake. So the title contenders are all in the top 4 positions, as they are in a slightly different order on the championship points table.
And you get the feeling that Laska Ratos, not to be mixed up with Laska Zeski, who raced in Formula Fords in the mid-2000s.
That's right.
Not to be mixed up, but a Greek race car driver. He's come here this weekend, and he could actually be the spoiler in the mix. Qualified very, very nicely, just off the back of John Paul Drake. And the Jam Motorsport team that run their actual outfit from the garage is at the back of the Ben Motorsport Park here on site, and they are currently sitting on the road 1 and 3 and 4 with Dave Barham, the Queenslander, in the mix there, and the Chiron at home on his own turf in Queensland for the last couple of years has been very, very quick, but it was Daniel Gonzalez that had a strong run there this year. And we saw at the last round at Winton Motor Raceway that John Paul Drake was in Jason Macris's Tornado. Now, Jason Macris fronted this weekend. He wasn't going to do any more of this year's racing. He backflipped on that. So JP dusted off the NA car, the normally aspirated GN version of the Wolf. And unfortunately, yesterday, Peter Macris did an engine in his car. So lucky for JP, who's in a championship position of sorts. He's not mathematically in it for an outright, but he can certainly be the spoiler for 2nd and 3rd on the podium. And there's a guy that is really starting to have to wind his season up. Had a ripper at Sydney Motorsport Park at the start of the year. Absolutely brained them in the wide expanses. And you'd have to think that the kind of corners at Sydney Motorsport Park might match a number of the corners around here. But that's Chiron now. He is coming under pressure from Gonzalez, and he sends it.
Had the look, showed the nose, Gonzalez, who won the last round at Winton, and he's in the title fight here too, but sits P3 at the moment. Lauke's clear, 2 seconds. The margin back to Barham. There he is, car 46 in our shot. Love this section of the track, this little left-right sequence with the uphill nature slightly different, but reminds me of a little part of Wakefield Park where they come out of the hairpin, that little linking right-hand kink that takes them down to the next corner. Good close-up shot here. You can see the kart track in the background. Always fries my brain seeing another race going on in the background.
Particularly when they're going the other direction as well.
Completely fries my brain every time. 2 laps down. This time across the line, Lauke leads 1.8 seconds. So the margin has come back a little bit here. That rise, that's a great shot to give you the indication of the rise as they come over past the pit exit. Under brakes now dropping down towards turn 1.
Start to hear a little bit of the wastegate there on our race leader, Mark Lauke. He's reminiscent of the Sierras of the Group A era of touring cars around the world there, just getting off on and off the throttle, a bit of anti-lag sneaking in there. Here comes another one of the Wolves, the number 99 now, that's Glenn Stahlbaum. His first weekend in a Wolf, and that's Yasser Shahin. Gone round in the number 7, or the number 07. We're going for a 007. There it is, the Ben Motorsport Park car. And hey, big congratulations to everyone here over the last day or so, winning a massive international award, Motorsport Track of the Year, part of the Professional Motorsport World Awards, and just desserts. Really has been a lot of hard work. Who would have thought that you could pick up a bit of desert in the middle of out the back of Tailem Bend and create such a world-class facility? So full accolades to everyone involved at Tailem Bend.
Some pretty impressive names of circuits that have won that award in previous years. Really stunning stuff here at Barham in 2nd spot in this, the first of 2 races. So another race tomorrow for the Australian Prototype Series to finish off the season here with the final weekend of the Shannons Nationals, our 2nd trip for the Shannons Nationals to the Ben Motorsport Park with S5000, the TCR cars. They'll be back for another 2 races tomorrow. But this is a really good fight. Lauke is just slipping. He's slipping back into the clutches of Barham, who has been working on this. He's pulled another nearly 2nd this time around across the line. 149.95 for the leader, 148.86 for Barham. That's the margin. He's closing in.
Mark Lauke here is doing a nice job still. 10 laps on the clock to tick off here, and Daniel Gonzalez has gone backwards just a little bit here as you see Dave Barham working very nicely indeed. Now Dave Barham is the fastest car on track with a 1:48.86. They'd be starting to push past that by about lap 5. They're running the Hankook control tyre right across the field now. There's Daniel Gonzalez, Realty Lane's very own, sitting there in P3. So points showing 11. John Paul Drake is in behind him here, and at the moment you would have to say it's through no amount of effort that John Paul Drake is just lacking horsepower. It's distinct lack of horsepower with the normally aspirated version of the Wolf versus the turbocharged Peugeot powered outfits. And there is one of our radicals, and that is Grant going through there. So that's not good to see early on in the weekend. Not having too much forward momentum there. So these larger cars, these Wolf cars and the Chiron basically have a larger footprint. They've got a lot more aero on that larger footprint under the car that they can take advantage of over the Radicals, which are largely just a flat bottom car. These cars generally have that Venturi shape to try and take, you know, a curved surface, has more surface area than a flat surface area, and they run very sophisticated aero. And Gonzalez looks to the inside now. The turbocharged car versus the 2-litre Chiron, normally aspirated. Have a look at Barham.
Jeez, oh boy! Oh no, he's wiped out the leader. He was trying to get second spot, and he's wiped out Mark Lauke. Oh boy!
We saw Daniel Gonzalez send it at Queensland Raceway with Barham, and now he's done it up to Mark Lauke at the start of this race. So that will see Barham into the race lead. And Daniel Gonzalez, that was, I don't think, Aaron, that was ever going to happen. That was a very big dive bomb.
And there's Lauke. He's managed to get going again, but there's serious damage. He's pulling off to the link road. So Barham is off scot-free from contact between our race leader and second. Well, Gonzalez wasn't trying to take the lead. He was trying to grab second spot, but was just in way too deep. He's parked on the outside of turn 1. There's damage to the right front. The front bodywork section will be coming loose on that car. Well, that changed things in an instant.
It certainly did, as we cut now to Glenn Stahlborn with Nguib and Carmelo Bonaventura, who finds himself in P4 all of a sudden. John Paul Drake leading the race, and Lascarados on a podium for his first race on Australian soil at the moment. Still 9 laps to go. You'd expect that actually that number 83 right there in the middle of that mix, the Nguib car, Michael Nguib, raced at Datsun here in the improved production races.
Oh.
And there's another spinner.
You said nice things about him, and he falls off the road.
Oh, that's a shame. And that car will start to come into its own in the West. They're very, very kind on their tyre. Not a lot of weight. These cars started off a decade or so ago, basically an RF88 Van Diemen chassis with some bits of bodywork added onto them, but that's certainly a shame there for Michael Nguib.
So out of all of this is now the leader. John Paul Drake has the length of the straight on Dave Barham, who's just out of shot in the background. Margin at the line is 12 seconds. Bit of debris there for him to contend with on his way around the next couple of corners. Here's the fight for second. He's leading by 11.6 seconds. Talk about this race completely turning around. And in terms of the series and the points and the numbers, this changes things as well.
The very likeable South Australian John Paul Drake now leading the race. Let me just revert to the points at the start of this weekend. David Barham in that car, the orange car, centre of screen, leading the title on 348 points. Daniel Gonzalez, the white car with its guard all torn up, parked at turn 1 on 345. John Paul Drake on 334. At the moment, JP's leading this race, so that will jump him right back up into contention. I was talking to him earlier down there. We were having a nice coffee of all things, and he said, I'm just relaxed. I'm sort of just going to watch these guys play it out. If it comes to me, it comes to me. Well, guess what, JP?
It came to him.
It's coming at you. Right now, it's coming right at you, and Dave Barham will be wanting to get in the mix there. And this guy, Lascarados, doing a tremendous job. He might think, well, I tell you what, this Australian racing's not too bad. You get a podium.
This is simple stuff.
Yeah, keep it on the black stuff, keep it on the island, and go racing. But Dave Barham, he will have his head down because he came into this round leading with a very skinny margin. There's, unfortunately, and that is an absolute crying shame. He's had 2 championships in this category in his West, but this year has not been Mark Lauke's year. I think if Queen Elizabeth was to comment on it, she'd probably call it annulus horribilis.
Hasn't been the best, and he's just trying to limp his way back to the pit lane without damaging that car any further from the contact. If you've just joined us on the Shannons Nationals live stream, contact between some of the front-running cars at Turn 1. The Pulsar to Mark Lauke, who's limping around. Daniel Gonzalez's car is also damaged, and it's completely changed the course of this race. Now, John Paul Drake leads the way, but David Barham's starting to pull that margin back in. It's down to 10.76 seconds as we look back further here to the fight for P4. And look at that bit of debris, Darren. It's right at the point where all the cars would rather be running to nail that apex at that right hand.
Yeah, it's right at that change of direction. They're having to hang on just that metre or so further past where they normally let the car flow, so that will be causing trouble. But I tell you what, there's some cars out in front that are setting some very good times. Of course, Daniel Gonzalez, the fastest lap of the race when he contacted Mark Lauke, and Mark Lauke now into the pits, and I'm going to harp on it. I'm not happy to see Mark Lauke not in this race. He's an out-and-out gentleman. He will have a chat to anyone. He's the kind of guy, if you walk in mid-story, he'll update you on the story and continue the story on. He really is a fantastic competitor and a super skilled race car driver.
Watching here Bonaventura in the 14 Radicals. It's position 5 at the moment. As you mentioned before, chasing Glenn Stolbaum in that number 99 car. We cut back here to Barham, who just escaped from shot. Laskaratos, the Greek driver, in car number 8 there, just behind, out of view. Hey, Barham's got time to do this, Darren. I know it's early. I know there's 7 laps to go. Margin at the line last time was 11 seconds. To the last sector, 9.6. By the numbers, the Chiron can still win this race.
Certainly can, and well, at the moment he's only giving up 3 points to John Paul Drake, and he can actually afford to give up about 20 points. So that's
give away
that.
nothing.
Yeah,
give
well,
nothing.
True too. Mark Lauke is now sitting, and Daniel Gonzalez, who was second in the title by 3, is now going to drop right back into P3 for the title. So he's going to have to make every post a winner from the back of the field in tomorrow's race.
I really love that we talked about this at Queensland Raceway for the people who have watched the Australian Prototype Series across the 5 rounds this year. The variety of cars. In essence, it's the same style of racing, but there's all sorts of different takes. There's roll hoops, there's no roll hoops in terms of the big wide ones across the back that we see with the Radicals. There's a bit of left-hand drive going on here with car 42. So this is the fight back a bit further in the pack. And that's now they're actually one either side. He spent a long way around that debris as he's chasing Nguib, who went the inside of that there. So 2 different lines there, but it's hard to be able to know where to look in this category because there's just a bit of everything, which is fantastic. The variety's fantastic.
And if you're driving sort of back east from here this weekend and you see this car sitting on the back of the family truckster, that is this car. He comes over here in the family car for the weekend, goes racing, does Phil Hughes, and it's not the way he's used to going racing. He's used to going racing with the big Ferrari Transporter and all the big names on board. But Phil Hughes, yes, from Hughes Supercar Services out of the southeast of Melbourne, decided a couple of years ago that he'd like to go racing, and with Alan Simonson was the plan. That was the plan. His great mate Alan Simonson, they were going to go racing together in this car in their dotage as they started to get older, and Phil said, well, unfortunately I haven't got Alan to go doing it with anymore, but I'm going to go doing it anyway. He's really, really enjoying it. And I saw the day he said, no, I'm just a mechanic that's going racing. Right now, does that look like a mechanic that's going racing?
No, it looks like a racing driver who's desperate to get a spot,
race driver.
And he's getting impatient because Nguib in the west is holding up and really taking the piece of real estate that Hughes would rather take in his car, sliding it there on the exit. He's having a go here. This is great to see, and you touched on before with Alan Simonson. Phil worked in that era with Prancing Horse Racing with their Ferraris in the Nations Cup category when they ran John Bowe and Alan and a pile of fantastic drivers. He's in the tow here. He's got a really good sniff. He ain't a mechanic right now. He's a race driver going for a spot down at turn 1. The long run down to the braking zone. It's not close enough to have a go here. Hey, update for my little tip earlier. Barham's got the margin to 5.78 seconds, Darren. 5 laps to go. At this rate, he's every inch a chance.
Certainly is. I remember the day just before we go away from Phil Hughes that he stopped being mechanic and became race driver. It was a very, very wet. In fact, it was ankle deep in the main straight at Sandown, and he came across the line and that hand went in the air with the number 1, and I went, no longer mechanic, just became race driver. Won a race, now got the bug, and Phil has remained super humble, ex-Pat Pom, and really does love his racing. In fact, there's a lot of the competitors in this category that are great advertisements for going racing for racing's sake. Just being at the track and having a good day. So we will get a quick report back from pit lane.
Well, whilst the action's out on track, just seeing some repairs to Nathan Morecambe's car. You lost it right front now, Nathan. What happened in that race?
I was right behind Jordan Cox, who were having a good battle, and to be honest, I was setting him up for the next corner to dive bomb him, and probably good I didn't have a wheel fall off when I was dive bombing him, and just literally had to avoid him, and then shot off into the sand trap, and that wall was definitely coming closer. But to be honest, it was all the studs snapped off the hub clean, and the boys have already put the hubs in both sides just so it doesn't happen again tomorrow, and we'll tune it up tonight, go fast tomorrow.
Such a shame too, because you were looking very racy at that point as well. It's been an amazing year for HMO Customer Racing.
Oh, it definitely has. It's been awesome. We're wrapping up the championship, and I was still fighting for second up until then, but it's been good overall.
Thanks, mate, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Well done to Nathan Morecambe to keep Cameron away from the clutch and the gearbox on that car whilst he was doing that interview. As we just saw Yasser Shahin come to a halt again. He seems to have, Aaron, one of those Control-Alt-Delete type issues. Comes to a halt, switches it off, switches it back on again, and carries on his merry way. Unfortunately for Yasser, it's seen him back in 7th place now. So number 7 on the car and number 7 in this race.
Hasn't been a pile of luck for the Shannons this weekend because, of course, Sam, oh boy, big spin,
wow.
Big spin. Grant has one heck of a lose there. We caught the tail end of it. Look at the tyre marks. That's gone for a little while. Out wide, which you can see.
Wow,
four wheels have been off outside the curb there where there's far less grip. There goes the leader, John Paul Drake, in that gold and black car. There's Barham. 3.5 seconds. You know how sometimes in commentary you sell storylines that don't come quite through? This one's on the way. Here's the replay. Out wide. Drop the left rear off the road. Little pirouette. Got the hand cooks all locked on. Stopped pretty quickly.
The other thing is these flat bottom cars. You can see where the black line has left as he's bottomed out on the back of the curb there, and it's just like riding a bathtub down the road at that point in time. Just slides on its belly and went round. Good shots now of the car. Currently 4th on road. Glenn Stahlbaum getting into out of his west and into a wolf. He's going to find himself home in 4th position if it plays out like it is over the next couple of laps.
And this is the limping Grant number 51 car, and we just had that shot of the Wolf with that black and gold livery. That's got to be a throwback to the Wolf Formula One car, surely. Jody Scheckter in the late 70s. There it is on your screen. Glenn Stahlbaum in position 4 at the moment. It looks fantastic, and it takes you back to, for our Formula One fans, the Wolves that ran in the late... Oh, I reckon someone's hit that bit of debris there because it's not sitting in the middle of the road anymore. Here's the leader, John Paul Drake, another gold and black car. It's a bit of a theme in the Australian Prototype Series. I've got bad news for Drake. Margin is 2.3. The Chiron is closing. But I've got some good news in that there's only 3 laps to go. Let's head to Emma in the lane.
Yeah, just thought I'd grab Max Mado before he heads into the car for this final race, the last day of school. Going to get out there, have a bit of fun and send it?
Yeah, it should be good. Obviously, the championship's pretty well done, so we'll go out have a bit of fun and see what happens.
Best of luck. Enjoy.
Cheers.
He's been a really good runner this year for Sonic Motor Racing. They've fought really hard in both Carrera Cup and the GT3 Cup Challenge, which has just stepped it up in the last year or two, being the platform for so many young drivers to show their talents and their wares. The field's been solid. This is good.
Don't Porsche throw so much at it as well.
They do a great job.
Their own category so well.
They do a great job. They've created their own feeder series for Carrera Cup, and of course there's a way for those cars to now move on down the line. This guy's moving.
Here's your man, Aaron.
Here's Barham. 3 laps to go. 2.85 seconds is the margin. He's closed every sector, every lap, but he's just had the tide stemmed a little by John Paul Drake. Onto the straight. 2 laps left to go in this first race in the final round of the Australian Prototype Series. That time at the line, Drake, 152.42. Barham, 151.05. Margin, 1.7 seconds. 2 laps to go.
JP would be well aware he's coming too.
You can see him coming for sure. That debris not an issue there. Someone's head-butted it off the road out of the way from the racing line. And this is the recovery. Remember that Barham was involved with Gonzalez earlier on, trying to launch a move on him at turn 1. He made contact with Mark Lauke, the pole sitter, took them both out, delayed Barham, gave Drake the chance to seize the lead, and we're hearing word that we're going to run time certain here.
So this is the last got lap. A friend in race control.
He's got a bit of a free kick here. He doesn't have to hang on for another 4.95 Ks. He's only got to hang on for another, 2.2.
Dave Barham charging here right round the outside of Sue Hughes as they plummet down into that complex of bends. Really enjoyed by just about everyone. They get out of their cars here and they say from 4 to 6 and then 10, 11 and 12. We love it. Here's the Sharon. He'll be thinking, Dash says 1.5 laps left to go. Why are the commentators saying last lap?
I'd be more worried if he's listening to us. He's a bit busy at the moment. I love this corner. I love that corner. The right hand that climbs uphill.
You've got to commit to it, don't you? Yeah, it's blind.
You're all in or you're not. Here's the leader. Couple of corners to go. He's wide. Barham there ran it a little bit wide, trying really hard on what's going to become the final lap in this first race. There's another race tomorrow. The series is on the line in the Australian Prototype Series, and Barham has thrown everything at this. The margin when he started the chase was over 10 seconds. He's done a great job to get it back to this point. And with the way the points look on our screens, Drake will pick up 53 for the win, Barham 50, so he's not going to drop that much. Checker flag's out though. John Paul Drake wins race 1 in the final round of the Australian Prototype Series at the Ben Motorsport Park. Margin at the line was 1.4 seconds back to Dave Barham. He can get there in the end, but he put up a really good fight. This is Glenn Stolbaum, who will come home in P4. And Lascaratos is already across the line in P3, about 6 seconds down the road.
I tell you what, this is a win for the good guys. This one right now, JP to Barham, Lascaratos, Glenn Stolbaum, and we're waiting now for Carmelo Bonaventura, who had a horrible weekend at Winton, and there it is, a big travel to get to the Bend Motorsport Park for the driver of number 14. Welcome to the Bend, Carmelo. What a fantastic job. P5 in this race for you, and there is our race winner. Like I said, it's a win for the good guys. The number 66 car being prepared out of Jam Motorsport, Hot Wheels. Wolf being driven very nicely indeed.
Looks the part.
Does look the part, and it's going to be interesting because John Paul Drake's orange and black overalls are reminiscent of something that Superman would wear. He's not a shy and retiring fella, the guy in that car with the bright orange helmet, but a top fella, as is Mark Lauke. Unfortunately didn't get home in the end, ended the race in pit lane. Fantastic result there for JP. Jam Motorsport, the Wolf GBO8, the normally aspirated car, comes home in first place. The charging David Barham in the Chiron. Andreas Lascaratos doing a fantastic job. His first race in Australia into P3. Glenn Stolbaum, Carmelo Bonaventura, Ian Eldridge, the South Australian in the old score there. Phil Hughes, Michael Nagweb, Yasser Shahin, and Sue Hughes home in 10th place.